Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review episode 270. This I'm viewing the 1036th episode of the series, Fight Against the Dark Knight. Commander-in-Chief of Wano stands tall. Just want to make sure that's the correct one. Oh, sounds off, excuse me. Yeah, that's the name of the episode. This episode pretty much adapts from pages 2 to 13 of chapter, I think it's like 1015. Yeah, 1015. So, we're not exactly at the point where we need to, let's just say, getting close to like the halfway point, at least close to the ending. Well, with getting to 1015, there is, all honestly, like, once I finish adapting this very chapter, let's see, there is exactly, there is exactly like 42 chapters left. Yeah, 42. So, at some point next year, we're going to see the conclusion to this story arc, and we're probably going to get on the Egg Island story arc, which is the current story arc right now. And I'd say at some point next year, my guess is by the end of the year. Who the heck freaking knows? Now, what happens this episode? Well, after the recap, before everybody thinks that Luffy's dead, then we see some additional scenes here. We see Sanji, who's carrying Zoro with the Kappa and one of the members of Whitebeard's crew. He's Kaku's brother. Of Enzo. Yeah, Enzo. Yep. And apparently he has the ability to basically, like, hockey his guns and basically fire them off against various people. And despite the fact everybody's informed, you see everybody's reaction thinking Luffy's dead, but nope. The one person who does not believe it, like, is Sanji. He does not believe Luffy is dead. Like, everyone's shocked about it. Of course, Usopp and Nami are a bit upset that they're denying it. Tama is crying about it. We don't get much reaction from Brook and Robin about this, surprisingly. Or even Jinbei. Yep. So, basically, we see Sanji running. And we'll see where he ends up in a bit. So, Chopper, of course, is crying at the start of the... When you see get the Chopper, he's crying. He's still got a bunch of candy arrows in his back. And he thinks that Luffy is dead. He's, like, crying. And then, like, we see, it looks like that Queen is about to basically finish up Chopper by unleashing more deadly sharp teeth on him. And then here comes Sanji busting through a freaking door and using his special kick, this is debut of this brand new kick. This new of his. It is called Danambla Jamba Resuri Strike, which is basically a big kick that causes Queen's head to spin around like crazy. Now, meanwhile, just prior to this, Pespero fired a bunch of many more candy arrows. Like, this is like more than like 20 or 30. This looks like a freaking 100 arrows. And they all go in Queen's neck. And of course, Sanji passes up Zoro to Chopper to take care of him. Oh yeah, he has a string of 10 men, and he's like 20,000, jokingly. And, of course, you have Sanji beginning his long fight with Queen that lasts for a good 20 chapters. Yep. Does over quite a while. And we see Kaido, where you see he has, well, after bashing Kinemon in the head, of course, Kinemon stabs him in the leg. Kaido responds, basically, by taking a small dagger and stabbing Kinemon right to the frickin' back. And you might think, oh, is he dead? Oh, no, he's not dead. Don't worry about that. And he walks off. Then we see Now, in the case of whatever else up to, we don't see exactly. Surprisingly, we don't see Carrot and Wanda in this episode. We'll get back to them, don't worry. So they're not in the episode, but don't worry, they'll be back in the arc. So then, of course, we see Momo, and of course they do show in a flashback in here of how they basically explain. Now, when we first saw Momonosuke and Kinemon, they refer to themselves as father and son from their basic introduction in Punk Hazard, and up until Zoe Island, that's basically what they refer to as father and son. This basically gives an explanation of how that started, how in the world these two basically played off being father and son. It was all Kinemon's idea in order to cover, in order to protect him. So he also had practice not saying, well, Sama, or basically Lord, when he's speaking to Momonosuke, and Momonosuke calls him father. Yeah, this basically is like a practice for it. Everyone's laughing about it. By the way, Kaku was in the scene in this flashback, and she doesn't say anything at all. Nope, she doesn't say anything at all. We do see her kind of in the episode where she's collapsing unconscious, but she's not dead. Don't worry about that. Yep, and then of course, Kinemon down. Then Momonosuke, who had taken a frog, the frog weren't in the connection to Hokunosuke, makes an announcement. We see Luffy in the episode just falling in water. And that's all he does the whole episode, falling in water. And we also see, just prior to Momonosuke making an announcement, we see that Okinosuke, basically Kaido's base, has finally made landfall at Wano. And the first place you see is the Udon prison. Like, how long has it been since you saw this in the anime? Seemed like it's been about 30, 40 episodes when we last saw this. So last saw this place. Yeah, great to see a quick cameo, and basically in distance. Apparently, the way they show on the map here, they show where they have Udon near the coast, and then off to the right of Udon Prison is the Flower Capital, which is where the thing destination is going to be. Interesting to show that, because they didn't show that in the manga. Not really. I think that was a complete anime original. That one was. Now, of course, Momonosuke makes an announcement that Luffy is around. Luffy's still, he's still alive, but not dead. And tell him to keep fighting. And, of course, Emma gets Bellcom. We do see briefly in the episode we do see Brook, Robin, and Black Maria, where their fight is basically just still continuing, despite the fact we haven't got back to it yet. We see, Jinbei versus Who's Who. And, of course, also Kid taking on Big Mom. Though next episode he's joined by Law to basically start their 2-on-1 handicap match against Big Mom. Yep. And, of course, we all see in the preview for next week's episode, we see that Kaido has got out to Momonosuke. Oh, don't worry. They're not going to die. Don't worry about that. But yeah, really good episode. Definitely can't wait for next week. Alright, next up is basically 1063, My Only Family. The cover story is seeing Chocotown covered in this whatever this stuff is. We see Cracker, and we see Breely, and the thing is, Germa Sigtix Emergeless Incursion, Volume 21, Pudding's been abducted. Yep, and it's basically you have, Breely crying. Apparently, she's actually inside of the tower. Somewhat. So then we see that we go open up with Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie eat all that food. You eat all that food. And then recycling, there I go. And of course, then they change their clothes. What kind of job is that? What are those? And they apparently take their clothes. It's a reader's lab. They're researchers. Alright, clothes. Typical place. Luffy? Wow, so light, though. Frieza, where'd you get that outfit? In there. He gave you food and clothes? Perfect. The salt water had only fill on me. My preference? Combat gear. And then we see apparently Jinbei. We see that she puts on an outfit that shows off her figure. We see Chopper look like he's dressed like a superhero. And Jinbei is wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Now this, I think, is quite funny. Jinbei wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Good thing you're talking about it. Makes this guy's Expect this guys even though we're not really incognito here. Yep. And some weapons, but secret that screw the Vest book. Hey, wait. I see the bear. Bear? Where's like imagination? Let's move. He's gonna run. And by the way, it's a pacifista who looks like Bata Makuma. It's a laser cannon. Eating without payment, theft for clothing. Huh? We need money for that? It just popped out when he kicked out the machine. It's a death penalty. Look like excess punishment. Gotta fight back before he gets the best of us. It justifies self-defense. If you're ignorant, you would just be pirates. Sounds like proper damage to me. And yeah, and of course you have Luffy look like by using the gun in order to stop. And they say he looked like his father, but not really. Of course, yeah, she reveals that apparently her father was Bata Makuma. They're my daddy. Strange. Run, dummy! It's a pacifista. And of course, they blast like a thing there, and of course, then apparently cut to. I kid you not, one of Blackbeard's ships. Yes. Or apparently they caught up with, well, Law's crew. Covered in water. And then for some reason, Law's crew turned to women. I'm like, what the heck? Yes, Law turns into a woman. You look fantastic, Captain. Don't make me beat you over the head. Oh, shoot. And apparently all the crew got turned too. And of course, then eventually when they surface, they turn back to normal. And, like, they break through the disease. What? And then we see apparently Doc Q is there. You see Vulgar's there. And also Jesus Burgess. Yes. The first captain under Blackbeard. He finally shows up. It's been a little while since he was last seen. I think the last thing he was seen was during... I don't think it was Reverie arc. It was basically like... I think the last time he was seen in the series was probably Dressrosa. Mm-hmm. And apparently he's got Devil Fruit. The strong fruit. He's lifting a mountain. Wait, he did it on land. So, throw in the water. And then, of course, we see a Pegasus come down. Yes, a Pegasus. And the guy's like, it's been a while, Trafalgar Law. Well, he's like, why are you here? Now, could you be cold to your fellow worst generation? Straw hair, you, new one of you. Who's going to sail from Wano? Here, Wano. Commodore Stronger says you're crushing him and me. Yeah, and it's Blackbeard. Yeah, he actually, I think his last appearance was actually just in the previous arc where apparently he killed Gekko Moria. It was implied he did, just they never really showed his death. Yeah, like, go figure that Kaya Big Mom fell and you turned the whole world upside down. Blast. Of course, Kaya will at least have one. How many you found? I'll take all your poneglyphs. Same back at you. This is a fight, winner take all. Yeah, Blackbeard. Like, wow, it's been a while since I saw him. Yeah, even though, yes, he was just featured in the previous arc, but it's great to see the guy. Yeah, absolutely great to see Blackbeard. Absolute regular character. I have heard rumors that there was a fan theory that he might be the final villain. He might be like the final big name character, be the final villain of the series, but I don't think it might be him. I think it might be M. I am the guy who is the true ruler of the world. I think he might be the real main villain of the series, the final main villain of the series. It's possible, but I go with him over Blackbeard any day. Who the heck M is? Don't really know. He's always showing silhouette. He's only shown maybe a couple times in the series. Yep. But this chapter, 10 out of 10. Really good. Yes, this arc is proven to be so good so far. And get this. This is only the 6th chapter of this arc. 6th chapter. And so far, we have seen the return of Doc Q, his horse Stronger, Blackbeard, Jesus Burgess. We see basically return of Bonnie the Glutton. and we see more revelations what happened with the Reverie arc, which I definitely say this arc has been really good so far. That's just my opinion, anyways. Oh yeah, definitely. I have personally loved every episode, every chapter release of this arc so far. It is just really freaking good. Yeah, I love it. It is so awesome. Yep. Yeah, only 6 chapters, surprisingly.
Nikki, mom is cooking supper now and the tea is almost out. If you can fill up your cup or make some more, please, alright?
Okay. Yeah. But not much to say about this stuff here. Both really good, and I can't wait for it. The very next arc, the very next chapter release of the series comes out next week, which is great. Okay, so that's episode of you. Next up is going to be the great Jaw went up defeated. Okay. Alright. Next video. Bye.